Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes on youtube.com/UVCapri and podcast services around the globe every single Monday. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening, for telling a friend, for telling your mom, for telling all of your entire family at whatever holiday get-together you did. Man, I thought my voice was a little bit more warmed up for that. It's not exactly the first thing in the morning. I've already gone out. I've shoveled the snow. I've frozen my fingertips back on. They've thawed. I've got my coffee. I've got my Diet Coke. How are you guys? I'm coming at you, man. It kind of like got stuck there with the hay. It kind of like got that. Usually it kind of goes like a upper. I don't know if you guys have really ever, if you've broken down the hay, the scream, but I feel it every, like it kind of starts out a certain way and then it usually kind of like dips or my voice kind of clicks into another space. Anyways, what am I even talking about here? 2 minutes on the damn scream. I'm so glad you guys are here, because we're going to have a lovely chat with Eldorne, Andrew Watson, a lovely man, lovely person, lovely family man, with a hell of a collection, man. I am so excited to share this conversation with you guys today. But if you're new, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. If you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, or if you just want to let me know that you like it, you can tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. I did a dumb thing last night. After Halo Saturdays, I went over to my old man recliner. I popped my chair up. I got under two nice warm blankets because it's cold. It's Canada, man. We've got to have you got to double up on your blanket situation here, okay? Especially when you're getting old, like I, you always have to wear like an extra vest or whatever. I'm trying to remember, like my grandpa was always cold, it seemed. So I feel like I'm kind of transforming into that. But I got a little too cozy and I fell asleep on my recliner. And this morning, at about 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oof. Not very comfy, and I zombie walked from the recliner up to my bedroom, into the bed, and like my head is just killing me, man. And it's not like some of the times I fall asleep on the recliner, which is far too many, let's be honest. It's every time I do this, I wake up with like a splitting, and it's not even a split, it's a headache. It's a situation. So Advil has been taken. I'm trying to, I'm doing my stretches. You know, this is where I'm at. I'm trying to do my stretches a little bit. But otherwise, I'm in good spirits. I hope you guys are in great spirits. And if you're not, hopefully this will pick you up just a little bit. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to support each other, be there for each other. Man, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but while I was, speaking of supporting each other, I had a great time playing Halo with a bunch of people, twitch.tv/Sean Capri, Halo Saturdays. We got one more of those left before Christmas kind of like takes over. So if you guys are curious about Halo and whatever this Halo situation is, Halo Saturdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. So after I finished, I went over to, like I said, my recliner. I was planning on I played a little bit of games. I fired up a game called Fury. This is a game I've talked about. I probably talk about this game once a year because I think I play it once a year. Very much a Christmas kind of game for me. It's not a Christmas game in and of itself, but a number of years ago, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, Fury came out on PlayStation Plus, and I was visiting my parents' house. I think this was before the kids were born, actually. It must have been. And I was looking for games on my PlayStation that I could kind of play with my brothers, because like we never really get together, but for Christmas, like we were just hanging out at my parents' house a lot. So I was looking through my library and I'm like, what is this Fury game? And it's funny because I was looking for like co-op games. It couldn't be more opposite. It's a single player boss rush game. It's excellent. And I was just trying it out. I haven't had an experience like that where I just fired up a game. I have no idea what it was. I just wanted to find out what it was. And then I just played it for like hours, dude. Like the game itself is very special, but like that experience also was very special. Like I have so many great memories attached to this game. So it has become my, a game that I can kind of play like once a year. Whether I played through all of it, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that right now, but I was kind of feeling the things last night, man. I was in my chair and I wanted to just play Fury. It seems like this is the time. So very, very cool. Like it's kind of like a little mini tradition for myself. But in any case, I don't know why I got off on that track, because what I wanted to tell you about was I was sitting on my recliner, just reflecting on, things are actually going pretty well right now. Overall, feeling pretty good. Things are challenging, but trying to, rise above, as my good friend Ray Osorio would say. And, I started flipping through these stupid YouTube shorts, man. What am I doing on these? I hate it. It's just absolute garbage until I find like there's this one guy who, I don't know if you guys have seen it. He kind of like holds up a sign, and like he holds up a sign. Something says like, if you're feeling down, or if you feel like nobody cares for you, if you're feeling that whatever. He kind of has like this call out. like, come give me a hug, take a flower and come and give me a hug. I'll help you. And he's like, I don't know. He obviously gets something out of like the YouTube side of it, but like I just was kind of taken by his like compassion, and he just wanted to help people, and people really needed it. And so, yeah, I kind of was feeling the things. And Chelsea comes downstairs, and I'm down the rabbit hole at this point. I'm probably 10, 15 minutes into just like, I click out of shorts. I click into his channel. I'm just like watching video after video after video of him supporting these people who are just so sad and looking for something, and he's there giving them a hug, telling these strangers that he loves them and he's thinking about them and how meaningful that is to these people. And I'm just like, I got a tear running down my face, and Chelsea comes downstairs and I click out of it, and she's like, so like, what are you doing? And like, because she hadn't seen me, I'm like, I'm watching these stupid emotional YouTube videos. And she just looks at me like, that is not what I was expecting right now. But in any case, that was my night. Just being moved by compassion, the kindness and support of others. And yeah, man, that's where I'm at right now. Speaking of support from others, I want to thank the damn near 70 people over at patreon.com/Yumi Capri. You guys are amazing. Many of you have been there since day one of the Yumi Capris, and many of you have been here since like the Make Us Better days, man. It's been a long time. I appreciate all of your support. You really do, even though it's a different name, but you really do make us better. And I want to quickly thank our amazing supporters, like our Capremium producers, Dallas Ford, Lee Navarro, he's the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, and Jonathan Brown, my friend, the man behind the music, the Xbox Drive, and the Nintendo Drive. You can support Jonathan Brown at youtube.com/PMENT. Platinum producers, Robbie Bobby Miller. It's been great catching up with you, my friend. And Trucker Sloth, same to you, my good dude. And all of the gold members, Argo, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Joel Brooks, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, Xavier Reyes. You guys are incredible. I get to hang out with like many of you guys all the time. That is the coolest thing about all of this stuff. It's about community. It's about friendship. This is the thing that you guys are going to hear more and more from me in 2022. Ryan and I are already thinking about next year, you guys. We're getting through this year. There's something that you should probably be watching out for in our content this week. Patrons, I'm not allowed to tell you yet, but by the time this goes public, you'll see. You guys will know. Very cool things happening this week. Lots of cool things. So check it out. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. But I want to get into my I was going to talk about comics, but I'm not going to. I've taken up too much of your time already, because it's time for Andrew Watson. He's a genuinely lovely person. And kind of like Jordan last week, he reached out a little while back. We recently met up at Fan Expo. He's into cosplay. We're going to talk about his collection. We're going to talk about a lot of things. He's doing a podcast called Eldorne's Nerdy Travels. You follow him on Twitter at Eldorne14. Links are in the show notes. Here he is, my new friend, Andrew Watson. Is like one of the best and I've seen a lot of people pop up on the screen, man, over the years. That is one of the best collections I've ever seen, man. Holy crap.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been a long time in coming.
I feel like I got a different view of it on your Extra Life stream.
Yeah, so when we were doing Extra Life, I had set up my TV just to the right of me here.
Yeah.
So that we could play off the big screen, and now I'm just looking at my computer monitors. So yeah, usually the TV's kind of right behind me here.
Do you mind if we just sort of like launch right into it? I feel like I've been surprising some people lately because like the whole thing records. So like
yeah, no, for sure.
Let's jump on in.
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've done almost 300 episodes. I've almost never given anybody like the heads up, and I'm like, okay, I feel like that's kind of maybe rude, or I'm not sure what, because I was on Nintendo Dads and didn't know we were on the show until a half an hour into it. Dude. I'm like, that's how that feels. Okay, that's it could be fun. But man, like, yeah, walk me through. Like, I feel like we could just do like a tour. I feel like you could grab the camera and just kind of like walk around your room. You've got like even the Donkey Kong conga drums down there.
Yeah, got a set of those down there.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, so I guess basically, I've had most of the stuff just building up my entire life. Like I still have an NES that I had when I was like 3 or 4. It still works. I still play it to this day. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. yeah, it's just years of collecting. It's
have you just like never
know,
traded anything in? Like, have you never, like, because you have that original NES. Like, first of all, where did that come from? Like, it must have been a Christmas present or something like that, or just arrived?
I have no idea. I think my parents had it. My mom used to actually play quite a few video games, so I think it was hers at one point. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I've had that forever. The only thing we did trade in a Super Nintendo at one point and our original PlayStation. Yeah, that was the only thing I've ever traded in, and I've reacquired those since. But, yeah.
What was the motivation between trading those in? Like, were you upgrading to the next system? Like, I feel like that's my story every time. Yeah, just trying to get a little cash.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we sold the Super Nintendo because we had the PS1, and we're like, woohoo, we don't need this anymore. And then yes, same thing when the PS2 came out, and well, the PS2 played the PS1 games, so what's the point of keeping your PS1
absolutely
anymore?
Yeah.
But
your history of games is legit, man. Like, you've been there the whole time. Like, basically, like, you don't have a memory without playing games or having that as part of your life. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I think it could be different for other people. I don't think I've seen anything quite like this before.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, my whole life we've had games in the house. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
What is your mom's take on games now? Like, did she sort of just like give it up after a certain time, or?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly when the time was, but it was around the PS1, I think, kind of when they stopped playing games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the motivation was. They just got into other things. I think, it might have been just that we were old enough to watch ourselves now, and they didn't have to be at home as much, so they just went out and were able to do more fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, she was definitely big into games when I was younger, and was a big influence on why I'm so big into games now.
What else is she like? Like, I'm very curious whenever like a parent, and I feel like now it'll just be like the way it is. All of us kind of like 80s kids grew up, and now we're parents, and we're all video game dorks. But I feel like it's a lot more rare to hear. Back in the day, it was always like the parents would buy the kids their video games to kind of like, parent themselves, like for us to kind of keep busy somewhere else. Like, it's rare that a parent will game, or I feel like Josh Stapleton was somebody that comes to mind. I think his mom played Tetris a lot. But I'm curious about your mom.
Yeah, Tetris was a big one for my mom, but she played Zelda and Mario as well.
Snap,
and Crystalis on the NES was a big one for her.
I don't think I know what that is. What the heck is that?
Yeah, it's another like action RPG kind of thing. You run around getting different types of elemental swords, fighting monsters. And, it's a fun one.
This is why you and Ryan like really hit it off in Toronto. Like, you guys have that encyclopedic history, man. Like, all the things. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan has so much knowledge in his brain that I don't even come close to. But yeah, I do very much enjoy talking to him because I appreciate what he's got in there for sure. But yeah, after the NES on the Super Nintendo, she played through A Link to the Past and got me into that game as well. Lots of Mario. We played Ms. Pac-Man together a lot on the Super Nintendo. I remember that one too. And then the last big one she got me into was Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1.
What grade were you in? What grade were you at?
Final Fantasy VII probably would have been 4 or 5, grade 4 or 5.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
Seems like a big deal. Like, I feel like I think I was grade 7 when Final Fantasy VII came out. And I remember thinking like that was enormous, that game. And neighbor Matt, my friend growing up, like, he was always into Final Fantasy 2 or 4, whatever you'd call it. Like, and they were too big for my brain. And so like, Final Fantasy VII at grade 4 seems like just gigantic, man.
So that was the first one that we really got into. I remember we were just at a video rental store once. The first time I ever came across Final Fantasy, and that was Final Fantasy 3. I picked it up off the shelf. I'm like, Mom, we got to get this game. I know it's just like Zelda, not like Zelda at all. That was my first experience with Final Fantasy.
Why? What did you know about it? Like, did you actually think in your head like it was kind of like it? Maybe the perspective, maybe, or what?
I guess so. I have no idea where that came from.
Japanese.
To be honest. Sure. Yeah. I definitely wasn't cognitive of where games were coming from, whether it was a Japanese game or anything like that at the time. But yeah,
there was a look to them. There was still a look to them for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And we're making decisions based on the boxes anyways. Like, that's something that I think we forget too.
100%.
Unless you got into, maybe, did you ever have like Nintendo Power or anything like that? Eventually you kind of get into it?
No, we never had the magazines and stuff. My wife did growing up.
Yeah.
We still have oodles of her Nintendo Powers, but we never had them in my house. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have her on the show as well, because I feel like you guys both have like this rich gaming history, and you're just both into it still. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we went the PlayStation route. My parents bought PlayStation after the Super Nintendo, so then I didn't get back into Nintendo stuff for a few years later when I was able to start buying my own stuff again. But then, she was N64 to GameCube, and then we both kind of met up at Wii and going forward again. So.
That's awesome. What made you go PlayStation? Was it was just Final Fantasy VII? Like, I feel that was such a lure.
I honestly have no idea why my parents bought a PlayStation instead of an N64.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I'm guessing maybe it was because the games were cheaper.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure.
Man, like I just don't even remember really even having like a rock solid idea on just like what the ecosystems were really about. Like you understood obviously Mario and Zelda and everything. Like, you kind of got that sense. But I feel like games back then were just so randomly priced. I don't know. I remember like looking like a Sears catalog or like the wish list like for the holidays or whatever. It's just like a bunch of random stuff you just didn't really know. And maybe the same could be said now when you look at like, especially this past week, like all these deals that have been going on. Like, what the heck, man? I've just been
it's good times.
Yeah. Have you been perusing the cyber sales?
A little.
Yeah. What'd you pick up?
So the big ones were the latest Pokemon games.
Yeah.
So they weren't on sale, but I collect the PC Optimum points.
Oh, and very nice.
Those are great. And they had Black Friday has like a bonus redemption event where you cash in your points and you get a lot more money worth of points.
Oh, that's really smart. Oh my gosh, that's really good. Mm-hmm.
So you can save them up for Black Friday. So I cashed in $130 worth of points and got $200 worth of credit. So
that is huge.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem is you have to pick up games from like Shoppers Drug Mart, which doesn't have the best selection.
Right.
Like they had the Pokemon games, but they didn't have the latest Mario Party. I wanted to pick that one up as well.
Oh wow.
So I picked up the 2 Pokemon games and Miitopia because I think my kids are going to really like that one. So
that's a good call.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, they're at the age now where they're really into like creating their own characters and making their own heroes that are going to go off and fight bad guys. So that kind of fits into their whole wheelhouse right now. So
that's Miitopia is like overlooked, I think, for the most part. And I don't know if like you've had this realization too, but like this notion of not all Nintendo games are for all people. And then you have kids and then you're like, oh yeah, like this is actually amazing. It's perfect for them. You hand it off to them and it's a very joyful thing to like find a game that's not just, oh, hopefully they'll play any video game. It's actually good for them. It seems like it's been created with them in mind kind of thing.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Nice, man. Oh, well, dude, like I feel like again, I could just like walk around your entire room. What about the red Game Boy? Like is that a pocket or a color or that's a color. Oh my gosh.
Actually, I ordered this one from Japan just because it was a lot cheaper than picking one up from here. But
when does that ever happen?
A lot of the stuff, well, at least it used to be, where you could import it from Japan for a lot cheaper than you can get it here.
But dude, you sound great. Like your whole like setup. Like I kind of want to chat to you about you sent me a message back in June that I want to get to, but like you seem to have gotten into things. Like your message back in June was asking about like getting into content creation and if I had some sort of like, motivational episode or something talking about it, which was very nice just to have you like come up out of the woodwork, like just kind of letting us know that you're out there and you're listening. And by the way, do you have this thing? I'm like, that always just is the best when somebody reaches out like that. But it seems like since then, I don't know that I did anything to really help out at all. Like you've got your snowball, you've got your whole setup, man. Like you seem to be doing it.
Yeah. So the snowball has been here for a long time. I have an old Elgato that I've had for years, and I've always just toyed around with it and never really dove into anything.
Yeah.
So even after I sent you that message, I listened to the episode. I'm like, yeah, he's got a good point. I should just start throwing stuff out there. But then still didn't do it for a couple months, and then but I guess it was right after Fan Expo. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing a podcast and start throwing things out there.
Yes.
I got like 5 episodes into my own show. I just do like 20 minutes a week, that kind of thing. Just practicing, trying to get some practicing with audio editing and everything else. But
what's it called, man? I didn't realize you're doing that. Why didn't you tell me? You got to tell me these things. What the heck is the podcast called? I got to get on this.
It's just on Twitter. Or I've posted on Twitter a few times anyway. But
Eldorne
Travels. And I talk about a random topic every week, pretty much. The very first one I did was right after Fan Expo, so I talked about our weekend at Fan Expo, and
Nice.
Meeting you guys there, and just kind of pick a different topic every week. I covered my whole history with games a couple weeks back, and then last week
that would have been helpful.
Yeah, my wife,
to listen to.
my wife joined me last week, and we went over her first part of the history, and then where we left off is kind of where we met, and then the next time we have time to get together, we're going to record an episode.
I love it.
So that's been fun.
What do you mean you're posting on, are you posting audio stuff on Twitter? Are you is it on RSS?
Oh yeah, it's on an RSS. You can find it on Spotify and Pocket Casts and Apple and Google.
There you go. Dang, dude. Okay, I gotta get on this, man. And Eldorne was World of Warcraft, right? Is that what I remember?
Yeah,
as we just as we were leaving Toronto, it was and it was a World of Warcraft thing. God, I'm gonna talk about that the whole time.
Yeah.
So talk to me about World of Warcraft in terms of how much of your life did you lose to it, and why? Yeah, just talk me through that. I think there's a lot to unpack here.
So World of Warcraft it wasn't as big for us as for other people. We got into it a little bit late. Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
We got in there.
Got you there. Downloaded.
There it is. Perfect.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yes. So we got in at Wrath of the Lich King, played through till the end of Cataclysm, and now we kind of just go back casually as the expansions come out, play through the storylines, and go from there.
Yeah.
We don't really sink a ton of time into it. We lost maybe 2 or 3 years where that was the only thing we played, just every day World of Warcraft.
Just 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, so
it's an insignificant amount of time.
Yeah, I feel like it's not as bad as some other people, but
yeah, and it all depends on what you're talking about. You're kind of keeping it relative, and it's almost like dog years, it's just different in World of Warcraft. So, and I'm kind of a dummy when I'm talk about this kind of stuff. I'm always curious to learn more about it, because I remember just hearing the early stories about people losing their lives to World of Warcraft, and then I started seeing, this was back at when I worked at Future Shop, way long time ago, seeing the free discs just show up. You can just get it started, and all you got to do is I don't even know if it was 10 hours free trial or something like that, and I just didn't want to have the subscription to it, because I just heard people leaving their jobs and leaving their whatever responsibilities they had. It really scared me, especially because I really liked Warcraft, Warcraft 2 especially. That was really where I kind of came to know that world and everything. You got into it when the game was already up and running. It's been around for a long time. I'm not sure the timeline for Lich King.
Yeah, so that would have been, I'm not sure. That was 2018 or 2008, sorry, when I got into that. So
yeah, a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you knew the dangers. Did you know the dangers? That you could seriously sink some time into this thing?
A little bit. I don't know. I basically started playing because I met a buddy at college that was playing it, and he was like, "Here, you should play this game too."
Yeah. Yeah. Not much to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So how did that all go then? You spent 2 or 3 years. Did you meet a bunch of people? And where did Angela get in on this too?
Yeah, right around the same time I did. First we shared an account. We both had separate characters on the same account, and eventually we migrated her character off onto her own account. We got 2 computers so that we could play together and all that sort of stuff.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest draws for me, both for World of Warcraft and nowadays more for Final Fantasy 14, is that I can play it with her, and we can both have our own characters, and we're playing at the same time, and it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. I love that. And I know you're going to do it on your podcast, but where did you guys meet? Was it video games that brought you guys together, or did you meet somewhere else? I can't remember if we discussed this before.
I was friends with her cousin, and we met through him at at a church event, so we met there, and then we actually hit it off over Mario DDR. Was the game that brought us together. Yeah,
I've never even heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I know DDR.
Yeah. So there was a Mario DDR version on the GameCube, and she had that version, and I did not. I had played a bunch on the Xbox, and then the first I heard about it was when I met her, and I think either her cousin or somebody brought up DDR, so we started talking about DDR, and then she didn't live too far away from his house, so she drove home, grabbed her GameCube, and grabbed her dance mats, and brought Mario DDR over
to show you the moves, man.
Yeah, for sure. She was way better than me, but yeah, Yeah, and that's how we hit it off playing Mario DDR.
What the heck kind of music is it? Just is it just?
It's just mostly Mario music,
themes?
just remixes from the Mario games. Yep.
That actually sounds amazing. That actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
Man. We don't have like anything like that anymore. Like it seems like all those things have really gone away. Like we often talk about like these endless games and everything. And I'm not necessarily sure that we're going to get a lot of plastic instruments coming back anytime soon, but like everything, basically it's Just Dance is all I can really think about is like where you really get up and moving. I mean, obviously like Ring Fit, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Like that thing to get like the family like up and moving and just kind of like having fun, just kind of innocent fun. With each other. Seems like that's, I don't know. I don't know if we're ready for it. What do you think, man? Do we need that back?
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to get some new DDR stuff happening.
Yes,
for sure.
yes.
Like, it's kind of a pain now. I got to hook up the GameCube and bust out the old mats, and then got my converter to play it on my current gen TV. And coming from like, it'd be nice to just have a nice HD new DDR game come out. But
how much in your sort of like day to day? I'm always curious about this. Ryan Turford is somebody I'm always kind of miffed by as well. Like when it comes to retro games, you obviously have such a love for it. Like how do you work that into your like day to day? You've got ongoing games. You play Stardew, you play the Final Fantasy, these forever games. But yeah, like obviously with such a love for retro, like how does that come into your Monday through Friday kind of thing?
Yeah, I rotate them through. Basically, I usually always have kind of 3 games on the go. One that I'm playing by myself, one that I'm playing with my wife, and then one that I'm kind of playing with my kids or whenever my kids are around.
That's a cool way to look at it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then just having that, I can kind of cycle through some older stuff with the newer stuff that I'm playing as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome, man. So you have it all kind of connected up to your main TV right now? Do you have like a dedicated CRT? Like I know some people have that chosen TV in the corner.
Yeah. So I still have my CRT over in the corner.
There it is.
And but yeah, everything is hooked up through my main HD TV as well. I got a retro tank, and those are phenomenal at upscaling just old consoles up to HDMI, and it just works beautifully.
I don't think I've seen one of those things. I know there's just a ton of options, man, when it comes to this stuff. It seems like there's just endless options, really. Yeah, I feel like you've literally got it like in your backpack next to you. Look at that.
A little box like this, and just put your composite cable on that side, HDMI out, and it works great.
Okay, that's the most elegant solution I think I've seen, actually. For sure. Very, very small, very simple.
Yeah, not too expensive. It was about $70. And
that's more than I would have thought, actually, just by looking at it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it works good though. That's the thing. There's no latency and all that sort of stuff. Like you could buy cheap ones off Amazon, but you try to, when you're pressing the jump button in Mario and you're jumping 2 seconds later, it doesn't do you any good.
Man, and you notice, I wouldn't think of myself as somebody who would notice like counting frames or anything like that. Like I would really I think I would struggle with that most of the time. But yeah, like input latency, especially for games that you just know the feel of it. Like I don't think anybody's like literally going through there like that's 6 frames off. Like but it is a feel to it. Like Mario feels a certain way, absolutely. And that's like baked into your brain, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Well, you got the whole setup, man. You got so like, have you sort of learned anything, or have you had any like? How has it been just getting into the content creation, the Twitch, and you did Extra Life as well, like in the podcasting, like. You were sort of hesitant at the start. How has it been now that you're into it? Have you are you kicking yourself for not starting sooner, or are you getting through the things that you thought you'd be getting through? Like, how's that journey been?
Yeah, definitely kicking myself for not starting sooner.
Yeah, there you go.
Like if I had really put time into it 8 years ago when I really started picking up this equipment and started dabbling, it would have been. Yeah, I would be much more efficient at what I'm trying to do now, for sure. But I guess that's the other problem is I'm not really sure what I'm trying to do yet.
That's perfect, though.
I'm just starting to throw things out and see what I like. I'm trying to stream once a week and put out a podcast episode once a week. And I'm just started a new board game show, too, with a bunch of my friends. And
little theme we got going here. This is nice. Okay, yeah, we had Josh on the show a couple weeks ago. That's awesome.
So... yeah, and then just learning how to make things sound better. I've made this sweet pillow fort around me out of all my couch cushions right now. just to try to absorb some of the sound in this flat walled basement here.
It works, dude. It totally works. It absolutely does. I think everybody should. It's so funny because like it's the camera's perspective, right? Like I see the wonderful snowball and the pop filter and the headphones and the whole like the background and everything, and then I don't get to see the pillow fort. It's everything that's behind it that makes it all it all work out, man. I love that. I think I should probably do, because I'm in like, there's no carpet like anywhere, even in the whole house, man. Yeah. Like it's just, we moved in, and actually as soon as we moved in, the basement was flooded. I think it was like, oh no, after we made the offer, everything closed. And then a couple days before we moved in, there was a storm and stuff happened. So they ripped up all the carpet. We replaced it with just laminate down here because we have dogs, and it was just, it seemed like it was easier. But for a podcast studio, maybe not the best. So every now and then I kind of get like I look on Amazon to look for some of those sound dampening, kind of like the cone things. There's the foam things. But I don't actually have a lot of wall space because I want my damn whiteboards. This is really where I should be. Like I should be covering all this stuff. But I get right on the microphone, so hopefully it doesn't like echo everywhere else. I get really in my head about it. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing it, man. It's something that I don't know. It's a really interesting journey for sure. And do you find, I mean, you guys are you both kind of like at the same level in terms of like your nerdisms? Like Chelsea and I are both a bunch of dorks, but like I feel like I can really overdo it, especially because I'm now well practiced at just like talking about games, and I'm obsessive about all the things, trying to get all the coverage. And I'll go to her, I'm like, Halo's coming out pretty soon, right? And I want to talk to her about like the Halo stuff and like the embargoes and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying to keep these kids alive, man. Like, like go back to your podcast kind of crew.
Yeah, no, we're pretty much on the same level. We spent before I joined you here, we were playing the new Pokemon games just on the couch with our Switches, and it's good stuff. But she's always excited about the new games that are coming out too. We watched all the directs and stuff together.
Oh, that's the best, man.
Good. Yeah.
Who started the cosplay stuff? Because it's so interesting going through your Twitter bio. I feel like I could tackle each one. I was going to tackle the first one, but I'll jump back to it a bit. But it's like, that's perfect. Like you lay out your Twitter bio like perfect for like an interview like this. It's like, okay, let's tackle cosplay, scuba guy, entertainment, tech guy. I think there's a couple electronics, I think it says, but cosplay, like. Because this was the first time we met was you cosplaying, and something I absolutely recognized, like just from the start, absolutely knew it was Stardew Valley. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, longtime player.
So we went to our first convention 2011. So we went to Anime North together in 2011, and that was the first time going just in jeans and a t-shirt, and then you're walking around and half the people are in costumes. And she definitely got into it first and kind of had to convince me a little bit. At first I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be down for that. But
that was Chelsea and me too.
But once she could convince me, then I'm just into it just as much as she is now. I'm, building all sorts of stuff, and just about done a Kokiri sword and Deku shield that I'm just about to finish up.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure, or pretty happy with how that's coming together. So
how are you sort of like learning as you go? Like, and again, like I just wonder about like the crafting of it is so incredible, and the materials. I think there is so much creativity when it comes to cosplay, not just like the design of it, but like you kind of have to. You don't just go to a store and pick this stuff up. Like you kind of have to decide how you're going to stitch this stuff together and like how to affix it. And I think you have to be a pretty good friend with resin for some reason. Like I think that seems to be a common thread here.
Yeah. YouTube is kind of the short answer. There's a lot of tutorials out there, and I spend a lot of time just watching other people crafting and then trying it myself. And trying to apply what I see in their videos to my own projects, and even doing some like tutorial videos like the sword and shield I'm doing right now. A guy, Steve Smith, SKS Props on YouTube, has a whole start to finish build, and that's kind of what I'm following along, just practicing his techniques and learning from him, and getting a cool little prop when I'm all done with it. So.
Are you, because like in my mind it seems like cosplay you do for like the events, like the cons and everything, is that still, is that kind of your take on it as well? And is that it must have been interrupted with COVID and everything, or do you just sort of like sometimes just do a cosplay just cause? like just to make it as a project or craft?
Yeah, so I wouldn't build like a full costume for just because, but I definitely built like just individual prop pieces like I built the Doom hammer from Warhammer for fun. So
that is awesome.
yeah.
Does this sort of like manifest in other ways? It seems like very tactile kind of stuff, like your whole setup, like your background, all your collectibles, you got your board games, you got your cosplay, like this. And correct me if I'm wrong, tabletop, that's different, right? When we talk about tabletop games versus like board games, like tabletop, like Warhammer, like are you into the miniatures and things like that?
Yeah, a little bit. That miniatures was actually our gateway into board games. So.
Oh, okay. How so?
We started playing board games on the nights when it was just too much work to set up Warhammer.
Yeah.
It's just easier to
should be most nights, to be honest.
Yeah. So.
Talk to me about, I'm a dum-dum when it comes to Warhammer. Neighbor Matt, my best friend growing up, he was kind of dabbling into it. I don't even remember how it just sort of like showed up one of these days. And I remember just like, again, sort of like Final Fantasy, like totally over my head. How does one just like get into this thing? It seems enormous. It seems really hard to do.
You meet somebody else that plays and he shows you. Yeah, and he's like, look how cool this is. And you're like, wow, that is really cool. Let me do that too.
So like, what's your first kind of like experience into it? Like dapping, like when you're on your own, you could be playing, you could, go to somebody else's house and play.
Yep.
But like, what's your first sort of like experience, like getting your own like miniature set? Are you painting them on your own? Are you like, how do you, what's your first kind of dipping your toes in?
Yeah, so we kind of first got into it through the Lord of the Rings game because we like the Lord of the Rings movies, and then we found out there's a Lord of the Rings miniatures game.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had bought the Lord of the Rings starter set, and then we had a friend who heard that we were starting Lord of the Rings miniatures, and he's like, no, you don't want to play that game. You want to play Warhammer. And he started showing us all his Warhammer armies and got us into that, and then we started building Warhammer instead.
Warhammer, like all these things are you require so much commitment to it. And you're just sort of like in all of the things, like cosplay, hard to do casually. I'm just saying, I'm just going to list these things. Oh man, it's hard to do these things casually.
Yeah. But that's kind of part of my problem is I do try to do all of these casually, and I don't do any of them nearly as well as I would like to because I want to do them all still.
There's so many, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So like what was your first, like was it like a birthday present? Like what was your first, like you're getting home, like you're gonna do it now. Like how do you finally take the plunge?
No, it was just a matter of after I was introduced to the game, we just went to Games Workshop and I bought a starter set of orcs versus dwarves.
Yeah.
And my friend had played dwarves and I played orcs and goblins, so I kind of traded the extra dwarves I had away with him for some of his extra goblin models, and then Angela had picked up a bunch of lizard men was her first army, so she picked up a box of lizard men.
The best stuff, man. Yeah. I love this. And they come. Do they all come just like blank, and you have to paint them, or do you have to?
Yeah. So if you've ever done a model car or something like that, they're just on a sprue. All the pieces are on a sprue. You cut them out, glue them together, and then you paint them from scratch.
Was that not like daunting, or was that like the exciting part about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
A little, yeah, for sure. I was definitely brought in because I was interested in the game, but by the time I really developed them now at the point where I just enjoy painting the models more than I do playing the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Did you have like an artistic sort of like proclivity before that? Like were you drawing, were you doodling before that? Like it seems like a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a very artistic person at all, actually. And I
cosplay models.
But I learn basic techniques and stuff just from YouTube and watching other people do it and just trying to copy what they're doing and learning from them. But I can't like just pick up a model and paint it beautifully myself. Angela's much better at that than I am.
Yeah.
But I need to like watch somebody else's techniques and then try to mimic that onto my own figures. And same with cosplay. I'm very similar in that way.
I have a feeling you and I are similar on that front, but there's something to be said about just like looking what that guy's doing. Like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. And then you try it and then it seems to work. Cause you just wanted it to. Like I am no artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I've had my moments. I've had a couple like things where I've drawn something like, look at that. Like go me. I want to do this more. Like sure. I'd love to draw more, get into that kind of stuff. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And that's part of it too, celebrating like the go me part.
Yes.
You can paint a miniature and you're copying somebody else's and you're like, this sucks compared to that guy's. But if I just look at it as, no, I painted this miniature, and you don't compare it to the other guys, and you're like, I made this awesome miniature. So,
but is it endless? It seems like it's endless. Like you could there's sure. Yeah, like you could get, I mean, you could even just get the same miniature, the same like character, or whatever, and just practice your painting on that single model over and over and over again. Or like, I don't know, is there like is there a possibility of like collecting all of the things? It seems like that would just, it would take up your whole basement. So. Yeah. Like, by the time you bought the last thing, even if it's in a single transaction, they would have released more stuff for you then to catch up on. Sure. It's just this constant flow of new products, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's too much. So where do you guys typically like get all the painting done? Or is it like in the basement there, but also, I don't know, like how do you even have time for any of this stuff?
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I got to mix and match it and do everything mediocre, and then I still have fun with all of it. So
yeah, that's the best, dude.
Right behind me, we're behind those white shelves there. We have a crafting room that's all set up for cosplay, and I got like a painting booth in there for painting miniatures and everything. So
much of it is the space. Now, it's similar to content creation, like your podcast setup and everything, I think too. Like you need the space, you need your shelves, you need the right tools, the right painting stuff. Like you kind of just, you don't ever want to sit down, because this is kind of how I end up doing it. Like we built a couple rockets for the kids, which has me thinking about this stuff. Actually, I'm like, there could be a little parallel in there, because I really enjoyed that. But yeah, you don't want to be like right in the middle of it, going like, I need this different paintbrush, or I need something else. Like you just need your space. There's something very nice about setting up your own space, I think.
Yeah, especially for painting minis, you don't want to. Yeah, you need to be able to just sit down and have all your stuff here. If you need to go into 3 different cupboards and pull out 6 different little bottles of paint, or different brushes from all over the place, if you have like a half-hour setup time, you're never going to sit down and do it. So that's true.
Do you think that there's parallels between? Because I feel like now, thinking about getting into this sort of stuff, but also like you getting into like content creation, like, do you think that there's parallels between the two? Like something that might seem daunting at first, and then setting up your space, getting your equipment, like all those kind of things, like. Yeah, like I feel like, they're kind of similar.
Yeah, for sure. I've done a very similar thing with my content creation stuff now, where I got my camera mounted, I got my capture cards kind of under my desk. Everything is in its spot and ready to go.
Yeah.
The only thing I set up is my mic. I just tuck it into my desk when I'm not using it.
Yeah, it's everything, man.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing as like what you just said there. Like if you have if I had a 30-minute like setup time to start this podcast every single week, like there's no chance, dude. And actually, I think that has a lot to do with like in the early days when I was doing this, like I think I was ready to really shut it down, because like it was the after side that was taking me like way too long. So first I was really surprised, like, man, like I had been listening to podcasts a lot back then, and for whatever reason it just didn't occur to me like what it would be like to sit down for an hour or so with somebody else and like just do the recording. Like that amount of time was one of the first hurdles I had to get over, and then. Yeah, the after.
And then the 3 hours afterwards.
Oh my God.
Learn how to edit.
Seriously, it probably was like 3 hours. How has it been for you? Do you have any horror stories so far? We all have our scratches and our scars.
Yeah, so just like the first episode of this new show that I started, it's a half-hour episode, but it probably took me 2.5 hours to edit it afterwards.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just because my mic sounded terrible. I had it set way too high. It was picking up every little inhale and exhale and just everything. I'm in there editing every single one of those out one at a time, and it just
been there
forever. But I think I'm kind of getting to the point now where it sounds a little bit better, and going into Audacity, it's mostly just picking up the sounds I want. So I just have to do the big cuts when I trip over my words all the time. But
well, you have like it seems like across all the things, you just seem to have like an attention to detail, maybe as the common theme, whether it's editing and audio or painting the things or whatever. Like it seems like, and even the way that your basement is set up, like that wasn't an accident. Like everything has its place. Like the magazines have its place. Like tell me, are the Game Boy games, are they in order of some sort? It seems like Pokemon's on the top. Or is it just the color?
So it's mostly just Pokemon.
Please don't knock them over. Oh my gosh, I'll feel terrible for pointing it out. It'll be the Vase and Matrix.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, there's not a lot of Game Boy games there. So, but it's just Pokemon's kind of together, Zelda's kind of together. And some Mario games. But I definitely try to keep things. It's a little bit messier than I would like, because I have some Final Fantasy stuff here, but most of my Final Fantasy stuff's on the other side.
It's like perfect for anybody. Like obviously it's not a video show. It's like it's a little messy. It's like it's immaculate. It is. Yeah. It's so nice. What's messy? What do you mean? Yeah. What would you do differently?
Well, it's just that I have random Final Fantasy stuff here, and I just kind of wanted to put it there so it's in my frame when I'm doing video stuff. But the rest of the Final Fantasy stuff's on the other side of the basement, so
it's in its real place. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think you just proved my point. Actually, everything is totally fine. When you think back on, when you think like, because you just have everything there, man. But like, what is, and it may be two different things, your favorite versus maybe one of the most special consoles. But like, yeah, like what's one of the? I'll ask, what's the most special kind of console in your gaming history?
Yeah, so I guess special would probably maybe PS2.
Yeah.
It's the one that's coming to mind right now. I just remember getting
Go with your heart.
Yeah, exactly. So probably the PS2. I was asking for that one for a long time because Final Fantasy X was out on the PS2, and that was really the only game I wanted to play. But my parents had got our family a PS2, and they had got me Final Fantasy X. But leading up to it, the whole time they were convincing me that they had just bought me an NHL game, even though I've been asking for Final Fantasy for a long time. I spent so much time on that website just looking over all the character profiles and stuff.
Dude, that's great. There's something about I remember those days very, very well of just like you didn't have what you wanted and you just like tried to take in whatever you could get to try and kind of experience it. Like you couldn't have it, but you'd go on the website and go, oh, all these characters, like this is almost as good. You're just trying to like, you're using your imagination. You're doing whatever it is. Yeah, that's really special, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the one that really, really sticks to me, I think, as most special. But yeah, growing up with the Super Nintendo was great too. Like Chrono Trigger, probably one of my favorite games of all time. Also good. But now, man, the Switch is so good, and like sharing the Switch with me and my wife and the kids, and we're all playing it together, and it's just the best time, Sean.
Seriously, it really man. I think I just saw over Black Friday, at least in the UK, Switch just dominated again, and another couple trillion copies of Mario Kart got sold again. So we're pushing another couple years before we get another Mario Kart coming. But it really is. I am personally really loving it. We just got Lincoln sort of a replacement, nice little cheap controller that he can probably ruin again at some other point. He's not touching a Joy-Con or a real Pro controller for at least another 5 or 6 years. And basically, when he learns how to drive, that's when he can touch a real controller, I think.
This is what happens when you...
oh, no. Oh, it's all of it's gone, just wrecked.
Yeah, just chewed it up like crazy. Yoshi's
like a
Crafted
pet
World
accident.
Yep. He was 2 or 3 at the time. He got a hold of the case somehow, pulled the insert out, and just started eating it.
Oh, no.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. I remember vividly and specifically like ruining things at my parents' house of like, and I probably should have known better. You know, like at one point I was just trying to like go for a bike ride, and I had fallen on my bike so many times to the point where like the brake on it, like it kind of it got worn away because I kept falling over, and so it was just the exposed kind of steel underneath or whatever the metal is under. So nice and sharp to if I touched anything, like let's say the side of my parents' minivan for the whole side of it, just like why didn't I like pull it away? Like as soon as I just like brushed up again, I just kept walking. And I remember my dad going like, "What are you thinking?" I remember, and I had the same moments with Lincoln now. Like you're a smart kid, buddy. Like what are you doing, man? And it's the same. We're the same. Absolutely. It's just so I'm just waiting for Lincoln to have like, you know, just to destroy something totally avoidable, something terrible, really expensive, and I'll just have to remember, like, you know, my dad didn't hit me that hard, so we'll just Actually, he didn't really hit me at all. I got the you know, those are some probably things I could probably keep to myself, I think. Right. But so scuba diving terrifies me.
Yeah. Scuba diving is amazing.
That sounds very scary. I think there was a time in my life when I would have been a little bit more on board with it, but now I think I'm just, as I age, I'm getting more and more scared of all the things. I would have gone skydiving at one point, not a chance anymore. Scuba diving for sure.
Yeah, I have no interest in skydiving. Scuba diving seems way more safer.
Interesting. Okay, how
Yeah.
come? What's the yeah, it seems like if you're scuba diving, just do everything. Like why not just dive into an active volcano? Like what the heck, man? Like
Right.
why stop at scuba diving, you know?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I've just always really enjoyed being around water. Really enjoyed swimming. Spent a
Yeah.
lot of time at the lakes and stuff growing up. But yeah, scuba diving is just like you're swimming, but you're just underwater.
Yeah. But you kind of have to
And you're
take
breathing.
certain steps to make sure you don't die. Like to say it's just like
Yeah, a
swimming,
little
like
bit.
it's kind of you're kind of skipping a couple of things here. Like even
Oh,
like
yeah, for
coming back
sure.
up to the surface, you kind of have to do it
Yep.
right. You have to think about
Yeah.
it.
Just nice and slow. Everything needs to be controlled, and then you just gotta keep a calm head.
Look, when you experience like deep sea diving via video games, and it's either Super Mario who can hold his breath forever, or the trauma of Sonic the Hedgehog, where you better find a bubble kind of somewhere along the lines
Yeah.
where he'll have just like this really stressful death, man, like just really awful. Yeah, there's nothing about video games that would prepare you for how you're actually going to have to scuba dive, you know? So what is your like training? Like, do you have you must have some sort of certification or something?
Yeah. So right now we just have the basic certification. We got certified 2 years ago, myself and my wife.
Yeah.
Into 2019.
How do you do
so
that?
right
What do you have to do?
We just go to the local dive shop, and there's you take a bunch of courses in class, and then they take you to the pool to do all your basic training, show you how everything works, and then from the pool you go do some outdoor dives with your instructor, and they're basically teaching you the ropes, and your final dive is to just go do a dive as you would on your own, and they kind of grade you, make sure you're not going to do anything dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're only certified for 60 feet. So nothing really dangerous happens at 60 feet, and everything has to be open water. So we can't go under anything that would prevent us from going right up to
No
the
caves
surface.
or anything.
Right. No caves, not allowed going inside like a wreck or anything, like a boat that's been sunk or anything like that.
So, I mean, aside from like the obvious that maybe walk me through, like what is that next level, and why is it that much worse to like go in a wreck or something? Like what do you have to be mindful of when you do something like that?
Well, I guess mostly for that would just be, if you run into trouble, it's basically you need a lot of experience before you get to that point. Our next step would be able to go from 60 feet down to 100 feet, because once you start going down to 100 feet, then things start getting your air is going to run out a lot faster, and you're going to have more side effects and that sort of thing. If what's a narcosis is the one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I should have studied up on my deep sea diving before coming out here.
The pop quiz is here, man.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. But, but basically, the deeper you go, the more dangerous things start getting. But,
what is the sensation? Can you describe it? Because I feel like this is so stupid. So, this is as far as I can like connect, and then you take me kind of like further deep down. So when I went I did scuba diving one time, but I went snorkeling really was the thing. And this is where I realized I probably couldn't do scuba diving. In my head before this, I'm like, absolutely, like give me the tank and I'll just go swim around. But I went like snorkeling, and I kind of tried to do a dive like the fancy people who were taking us around. And I tried to go like vertical straight down. And as soon as my feet left like the air and kind of got submerged, I was basically, so my head was essentially 5 feet 9 inches below the surface, because that's as tall as I am. Right. I'm like, that's far enough. That's good for me. Like, cause my ears were kind of like getting a little crazy, and it felt like I was really deep, and I was basically the length of my body below the surface.
Yeah. So it's basically every 30 feet you go down, you double the amount of pressure that's on your body.
Good God.
You learn how to equalize basically your ear canals and your sinuses and stuff, and just balance out the pressure as you're going down.
Is it just the nose plug thing?
That's essentially it. And but if you start going like deeper than 100 feet, you can start getting like I think it's called narcosis, where you basically just start acting drunk when you're that deep into the water, and it's really, really no good. So
this is why I'm not interested.
Right. So where we're at usually doing our dives between 30 and 60 feet, and it's very safe there. So that's where we like it. And that's where you see a lot of the fish and stuff. But a lot of the local a lot of the local wrecks in the Great Lakes are deeper at the 100 foot mark, 120 foot mark. And
what kind of wrecks are over there?
Just lots of the old trading boats and stuff, I guess. Just
okay.
That would go through the lakes and up through the St. Lawrence River and that sort of stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I
was kind of hoping that there would be some sort of like Canada-US war that I didn't know was waged, in the Great Lakes. I think that'd be super cool to discover.
Yeah, I know there's lots of wrecks like on the St. Lawrence and stuff. So possibly. I'm not super familiar with all of them yet.
And that would be me just like being interested in it, going like, oh, let's check this out, and getting myself into a terrible, dangerous situation. I tap a mine or something. I think about like Finding Nemo or something stupid. Swim away. Nice, man. Well, like, how do you, like, why did you want to get into that? Like, again, you were into the water and stuff, but like, were you surfing before? Like, were you just, like, it seems extreme.
I think it kind of, I got the, interest sparked through one of my old bosses was a scuba diver.
Oh, that's
so I worked
cool.
I worked at a marina all through high school, just kind of working in the shop, helping people with their boats, filling them up with gas mostly.
Yeah.
But I was always at a lake, and he was a diver too, and would do some occasional diving jobs and that sort of thing. I always thought that was cool. And then we did a bunch of snorkeling in Florida as well. And once I met my wife, and then once you're snorkeling, I'm like, it'd be nice if I could just stay down there for a while. And,
yeah.
But
I love it, man. Yeah. That's so interesting, dude. So like, isn't it cold? Like, you want to go to Florida, like, really, to do this kind of, like, there's better spots than where we are.
Well, there's really good diving, around our area, but it gets cold now. We went about 2 weeks ago, and the water was about 57, and after about 35 minutes, we were real chilly. I mean, I haven't done too many big trips yet. We've done Florida a couple times, and then we're not going anywhere for a while. So we'll see what happens in the future, but we'll do some more tropical trips at some point.
I love it, man. I want to loop back here before we close things out, but I want to loop back to you meeting Angela. You said that this was, your friend's cousin? Yeah. What was it? It was a relative, like
my friend Angela's cousin.
Yeah.
So he was a friend of mine.
Well, didn't he give you like the side eye? Like, that's my cousin. Like, what's going on?
No,
here?
He was all for. He was super supportive, actually.
Oh, that's nice.
Without him, it was. So we met on a Sunday, and then it was like a month. He left like the following day to go on a trip out your way. He was gone for like a month, and we were both like kind of messaging him, and we didn't end up getting back together again until he came back from his trip about a month later, and then he was finally able to get us back up again. But
Nice, man. Oh, super cool, dude. Holy crap. And then, so what about the church thing? Like, is that sort of like a part of the story here? And part of your maybe even getting married? Like,
for sure.
The early connection. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been, both very active in our church life, our faith life. And, we met, through, like I said, through her cousin, and it was at his profession of faith. And, so I was there to support him for that. And so was she, and that's how we met. And,
Nice. Well, how does that, like now we're getting into Christmas here. How does this sort of like, this was part of you guys connecting in the early days, but like, how does this sort of like manifest in your day-to-day lives now? Like, is it a church on Sunday, or like, and also raising the kids now too? Like, how does that, how do you practice day to day?
Every Sunday we're going to church twice, once in the morning, once in the afternoon.
Really? Holy cow.
And, the kids go to a private Christian school that's kind of close to our house, kind of just within that whole same community. But we definitely wouldn't have met without it, for sure.
Oh man, that's amazing. Holy crap, man. Well, I really appreciate you carving out time tonight, really. Like, it's super late in the Eastern time zone. I always appreciate the accommodating. Sure. This is as early as I can really do it, as I get the kids down. And
for sure.
Ellie and I went out to Costco today. We had a nice little like daddy-daughter kind of, and that never happens. Like, honestly, once in a million years. I think there's like, I can count on one hand where I've done like something just me and Ellie. So that was pretty sweet, man. But got the kids down, got down here, recorded a little show, and I always appreciate just you, dude. Like, you crush it with Extra Life, by the way. Maybe we'll touch on that really, really quickly. But yeah, like you hit like how many times over did you beat your goal? Like, and you had a big goal. You set out like for $1,000.
Yeah, well, my original goal was 500. We hit that pretty quick.
Yes,
and then I bumped it up to 1,000, and we ended up hitting it. My grandma was huge in donating.
Really?
She's probably about $200 just my grandma herself. But
I love it.
Awesome. Oh
no, you guys did great. It was one of those like, you know, I knew that you were looking to get into some stuff, and then I saw by your stream like, this looks good, dude. Like it looks really, it was really well done. And I give Extra Life a lot of credit for getting me started. I always think like, you know, it's such a win-win-win for everybody involved. And
sure.
If anybody needs like that, I want to get started, but I don't really know when and where or how, blah, blah, blah. Like not only like Extra Life gives you the day, it gives you the like, you know, the urgency, like get it done by this day, have it figured out by this day. Cause if not for that, you just get it done whenever. Like you can always put it off, but Extra Life, like there's that day to drive you towards. And then also just like it gives you all the tools. Like if you just you could just stream with like their overlays and everything forever and just constantly be fundraising for Extra Life. Like they give you everything you need, man. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I used a bunch of their overlays for the last couple of years. This year, I figured out how to make my own track mat out of their logo.
Yes.
So all my transitions used an Extra Life track mat transitions. That was sweet.
I love it. Well, yeah, we're going to be planting seeds for next year, I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about this. I don't know what the heck it's called, this new damn variant. It sounds like a transformer or something. Anyway, it sounds like the Tesseract or something like that. But yeah, man, like Rome, New York is still top of mind for me for next year. And I know just kind of, I think maybe you might be considering it for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As long as that border's open, I'm going to drive across it, and it's a 4-hour drive for me. So
so
really
good.
Go, so.
Yeah, we have notes, as Donnie would say. We have notes. Babbitt and I, we were chatting about it too. So getting as many people over there as possible. So yeah, man, very cool. Well, yeah, let's tell everybody where all the things are. You've got all the stuff, the streaming and the podcast and stuff. Tell everybody where they can find all your good stuff, dude. Yeah,
probably the best place to find me is just on Twitter. Twitter/Eldorne14. And I post links to everything there. It's probably the best place to follow me.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks again for being on the show, my friend. This is awesome.
Yeah, and thank you, Sean. It's been so fun getting to know you over the last couple months, a little bit better, spending some time with you, playing some games, and I've really appreciated your support. You've been there, kind of helping me out a bit, and promoting some of myself stuff a little bit, and especially with Extra Life, and it's been really appreciated. So I just wanted to say thank you.
I'm telling you guys, the people who are starting podcasts, like right from scratch, the people who are doing it right now, they are doing it better than any of us ever did back in the day, dude. When we started podcasts, like I was doing the show in 2015, December 20. Oh, dude! I literally just, as we speak, I'm realizing this. We're coming up on 6 years. I gotta give Seamus Mullins a call here, dude. We're coming up on 6. We're in December. This is it. We did it. December 2015 was the very first episode of We the GamerCast, as you know it here, as like in this style. We the GamerCast used to exist, for those who don't know, as part of a website called WeTheNerdy.com. That's where I first started into all this stuff, writing and stuff for them. Used to be a show that was sort of like, you know, news and topics and 4 people around a table talking about video games, that kind of thing. And then that fell apart. We started doing it in this way. December 2015 was when that happened. Dude, we're 6 years. This show is turning 6, and I'll figure out exactly what day it is, because I'm obviously just a little off script right now at the moment, but that is so cool. The heck was I even talking about before I got on there? I'll listen back to the tape and remember that I probably could have been doing something else. Oh, people are doing this really well. I went afterwards, and because I learned just at the moment that you guys did that Andrew's doing this podcast. Eldorne's Nerdy Travels, so good. Latest episode on December 3rd. Was all about Final Fantasy 14, and congratulations and shout out and excitement all to the Final Fantasy 14 community. You broke the damn game over the weekend, so hopefully you're having some fun over there. But some really, really cool stuff, and the audio quality is excellent. He's It's gonna be good, you guys. Some of you like to be there at ground zero, at day one, when these podcasts start and watch them grow. I think this is gonna be an exciting one. So go check out Andrew's stuff. All the links are in the show notes for him and for me as well. If you want to support me, you can reach me out. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, twitch.tv/Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. The heck else did I want to tell you? And if you want to support on Patreon, patreon.com/YouMeCapri at $3 and up. So if you're at $1 on the Patreon, you're wondering what the heck everything is. It's the $3 tiers and up to get all the exclusive content. The Pants Patreon podcast for patrons podcast. That's me and you. You ask me questions, I answer every single one of them. I'm all out of time. There's so much on Patreon. Patreon.com/YouMeCapri. Go support Andrew. You're amazing. Go spread kindness. Be good to one another. I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!